I just, I knew I was meant for more, Ange, but I just didn't know how to do it. So I was, just completely maxed out. And I started seeing other people making like 50K a month. And how are they doing that? And eventually I started investing in myself. I would join these programs with all the big names in the male coaching industry.
Yeah.
And I heard good
Spending
ideas.
more hours
I
raising a family.
more more ideas, but I had to translate it because it was so much bro marketing and bro
Okay.
selling and, pro leading your team. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, that's impossible for me. It just feels inauthentic. So
Right.
essentially, I translated everything into what a woman would do.
Mm.
And I scaled my business.
Welcome to You're the Boss podcast show. And today I have a special guest with me, Fabienne Fredrickson, who is a beloved mentor to thousands of women in business. And as the founder of the Leverage Business Program, she has reverse engineered how she scaled her business to several million annually while remaining powerfully feminine. So, Fabienne, welcome to the program.
Excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So, as we talked a little bit earlier, I had a look at your book, The Leveraged Business,
Business.
right? The Leveraged Business, and just absolutely love the topic, and it's so important. I think this is just a book that every woman needs to read. I think whether she's in business or not, every woman needs to read this book because I think as women, we tend to do too much. We tend to overpromise everything, over deliver everything, and over leverage our time rather than outsourcing and getting others to help us and ask for help actually as well. So as I said, this book is so important, and I promise you, if you're a business owner and you implement the things in Fabienne's book, it's going to change your business for sure. I know from personal experience of running a business, when I applied these principles, leveraging my resources, it's just crazy not to. You have to do it. So, Fabienne, just explain to us a little bit about, first of all, the journey that took you through to creating your system, because I know it came from pain, I guess, right?
So many dark nights of the soul. I started my business 25 years ago. I had been a holistic nutritionist and I didn't get as many clients as I wanted to, all those years ago. And just to make that part of the story really short, I ended up creating a client attraction system for myself. I realized I'm unemployable and I cannot not figure out how to get clients. So originally, 25 years ago, I became known as the business coach that created the client attraction system. And so I started teaching other people my system. And then I got to six figures rather quickly following that system. Then I started burning out. Raised my fees. It didn't seem to matter. There was demand. I started taking on more and more and more clients. I remember my husband at the time, well, he's still my husband, but we had a small child and he said, "Are you sure you can take on any more clients? Because we never see you." I was working evenings, weekends. We had another child. I knew I was meant for more, Ange, but I just didn't know how to do it. So I was, just completely maxed out. And I started seeing other people making like 50K a month. And how are they doing that? And eventually I started investing in myself. I would join these programs with all the big names in the male coaching industry.
Yeah.
And I heard good
Spending
ideas.
more hours
I
raising a family.
more ideas, but I had to translate it because it was so much bro marketing and bro
Okay.
selling and, pro leading your team. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, that's impossible for me. It just feels inauthentic. So
Right.
essentially, I translated everything into what a woman would do.
Mm.
And I scaled my business within 7 years of starting it to a million. And at that point, I had two children. all these other women started asking me, how are
Yeah.
in a way that you can take 14 weeks of vacation? And I sat down and I reverse engineered everything. And instead of teaching the client attraction system, I started teaching how you can scale, how you can go from overwhelmed and burned out at 6 figures to 7 figures with 14 weeks of vacation and time to go pick your kids up at the bus. And so
Right.
that's how I did it. It's a long
Yeah.
story.
And this is why, as well, it's why it is needed because you go to all this, you say this male dominated seminars and learn all their stuff, but balancing a home and children doesn't come into that for them, right? Usually.
And
So
there's also all this invisible work that we do as women,
yeah.
the dinners, the laundry, even if we have a housekeeper, there's the
Mm,
birthday, all of that. And the
yeah.
guys seem to think that that's part of their stuff. So we have double jobs.
Exactly. Exactly. So take me through your system then on the different ways that you leverage your resources so that you can build this business. What are some of okay, first of all, before you take me through this, take me through the common pitfalls that women tend to make. What are when women come to you, what usually is going on with them? What's the usual symptoms that you're picking up?
How many hours do we have? So
I know, right?
I will start by saying this isn't a business thing, but it affects the business entirely. We women are raised in society to be the one to take care of everything. So we are also raised to be people pleasers and to put the
Yes.
needs of others before our own.
Yes. Especially as mothers, you do that, right? So
Exactly. So if you think about this in business, we tend to put the needs of the clients before our own. We
yes.
tend to be flexible. We tend to overfunction.
Mm,
Even when we have a team, we don't
mm,
fully delegate. We go
mm,
in, we fix, we rescue.
mm.
We have a hand in everything.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, like when I first learned to delegate, like I had a team, I had people working in the office for me, but and they had their roles, but I was still working around the clock and I was still doing all of these extra things. And it was all, I can't give that to them for two reasons. One, I'm the one who can do it the best. Two, for the amount of time it's going to take me to explain it to them, I could have got it done already, so I might as well do it, right? So this is the pitfalls we fall into, right? And I learned to delegate through having no choice. And that was a time when I broke my shoulder and I literally couldn't move because the pain in my shoulder was incredible. And I could move one finger to type for that. So I was like, I couldn't do anything, right? So then it was like, okay, I have to delegate. And my team just said to me, look, just stay at home, look after yourself, don't come in the office. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. And they did. So after that, it was like, yeah, okay, you run it. But it took that for me to do it.
Yeah, I actually just did a podcast episode on this very topic. I think it's called They Won't Do It Like I Would. And it's all about the topic of why do we hire a team, but we don't fully let it go. And it's exactly the reasons you said that. And I want to address your shoulder or your arm. Yes.
It was shoulder,
I,
yeah.
when you learn to delegate, and sometimes when you're forced to delegate, your
Mm,
business grows. And I'll give you two
yeah.
examples. I have one, and you can see her whole story on the Bold Heart website. She unfortunately was diagnosed with cancer.
Mm,
And because she had applied the first four activators, the first four chapters of the book, team, systems, time, and business model, her
right.
business grew while she was not working. She was receiving
Nice.
the chemo treatments,
Okay.
etc. She came back a year later, 8, 9 months later, and her business had grown when she wasn't part of it. The following year, because of that, she was in remission, but forgive me, she was in remission, but her business got to 7 figures. And this is the
Mm,
same thing that happened to another client of mine. Her business grew to 750,000 last year,
right.
even though she had
Right. Okay. So sometimes, yeah, it takes a disaster, I say, to force you out of your own business so you get out of the way so it can run, right? Yeah.
It forces us to say, oh, how do I use my time? It's necessary for me to do
Mm.
versus others.
Yeah.
It also allows you, and I'm not saying that we need to have a health concern for this to happen, but what got us here won't get us there. So if you are at
Exactly.
6 figures and overwhelmed, we can't apply that same process to getting to 7 figures. And I'll give you
Exactly.
a process to start thinking about in your business to leverage it. It is the Pareto principle, the 80/20
Mm.
rule.
Yes.
And the Pareto principle is essentially leverage. If you look at your business results, your revenue, you will see, if you do an analysis, you will see that 20% of your activities
Mm.
or 20% of how you use your time, meaning 2 hours out of your day,
Mm.
produces 80% of your revenues and your business growth. Conversely, 80% of the stuff that you're working on, 8 hours of a 10
Mm.
hour day,
Mm. Mm.
is only producing 20% of results or revenues. And when you
Mm.
start thinking about it that way, Ange, it changes everything
Yeah.
because you start thinking, why am I doing all of these activities that are not producing that much?
Mm.
And what if I put a pause button on those?
Mm. Mm.
And what if I started doing just more of the stuff that's already working?
Mm.
It,
Okay.
when you read the book or you listen to the podcast, we talk a lot about this, which is being willing to focus on the things that are actually working and then either delegating, automating,
Mm.
or eliminating the rest.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what happens is then you take the 20% or the two
Yeah.
hours and you start to increase that.
Mm.
If you're working on activities 2 hours a day that are getting you the results, put a pause button on the other 8 hours and then double that, say 4 hours or 6 hours on the exact things that are working. And then you scale very quickly.
Right. Okay.
Evenings back, you get your weekends back. It really is powerful. That's the time. I would read the time chapter if you're listening to
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
because that's a very
So
powerful.
leveraging time and leveraging other people to actually do that
Yes,
work that's not worth your time because it's not gonna get the results in for your business, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
there
And they'll do
are
it better than you anyway.
there are two types of activities in the 20% that I
Mhm.
speak about.
Mm.
Number one, it's money generating activities.
Mhm.
We call them in Bold Heart, we call them MGAs, money generate activities.
Yeah.
And there are also EGAs, exponential growth activities. And everything else, it's going to sound strong, but everything else is a waste of time. Everything else
Okay.
belongs in the 80%. You should really just be focused on money generating activities
Uh-huh.
and, and
Growth.
exponential growth activities.
Okay, so money and growth
Yeah.
is
And this
what
is
you
what
as a business owner, what you need to focus on.
And a
Yeah.
lot of times a woman isn't clear about what that is for her. So this is
Mm.
why I recommend wherever you get your coaching, I recommend that you have somebody help you figure
Mm.
out what are the things that actually are eating up all of your time, which is your most
Mm.
precious resource,
Mm.
and put a pause button or like I said, eliminate, automate, delegate,
Yeah.
and then double down on the things that but a lot of times we don't know what those are. So this is
Yeah.
where good coaching comes in.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's like sometimes you think something is important, but when you actually look at it, it's not, right? So that's just recognizing what you're wasting time on. And sometimes just simple things work, and you're trying to make it too complicated, like
Yeah.
funnels and all this kind of stuff. And so I mean I'm a huge fan of tech and I love fiddling with all the tech and building funnels and all that, but I also know that I could give it to someone and free my time up so I don't have to do it, although I do enjoy it. It shouldn't be the thing that I'm doing, right? And two, they would do it faster better, they'd have other ideas. And people contributing to your business gives ideas as well. So, for example, I recently hired someone to build some funnels for me, and he came back at the end of the day and said, "Done 'em." And I'm like, "What? So fast?" And then I went and looked at them and I was like, "Oh, okay, these are good." And it's like not how I would have designed it, but he kept within the brand and it was just a fresh look, right? So that was adding value to my business as well.
Essentially, you're leveraging someone else's brilliance.
Yeah. And it's what we don't do often enough, I think. And when you have a team, then another thing, I don't know if this is something that you coach on and you advise people on, but this is one thing I see a lot. Is when you do grow a team, don't try and force people into roles that they're not cut out to do, either personality wise or skill wise. Right. I've seen this so many times, especially with small businesses where it's okay, we're bootstrapping this. I need you to do this. And then they get miserable because they can't do it or it's stressful. It's not what they were hired for. And then they end up leaving. So I think that's something to bear in mind as well, right? When you do hire right.
Yeah, one of the things that's really important when you're hiring, and I didn't know this 25 years ago, and
Mm.
I suffered a lot hiring team members who were not very good.
Yep, me too.
It's because I wasn't using assessments.
Mm.
Meeting someone and saying, "You're great. I like you." And I would put them in the position.
Yes.
And then 3 months later, I realized, like, oh, this is the wrong hire, or I was disappointed. And this is what happens, Ange. You don't hire strategically. You
Mm.
don't use a hiring process that
Yeah.
includes the assessments. You hire somebody, you get disappointed.
Yeah.
You let them go, or you say to yourself, you know what, I'm just going to take back the work because I'll get it done faster. I don't want to train somebody to then be disappointed. They go down a rabbit hole for 3 weeks. They come back. It's not at all what you wanted. And
Yeah.
so when you hire strategically, the implementation happens
Mm.
so much faster, and you don't
Yeah.
have to helicopter parent your team
Yes.
or white knuckle and control
Yeah.
everything because
Exactly.
you can trust your team.
Yes, exactly. It makes such a difference. I think when you have people understand, you have business owners understand that, especially if you're trying to hire cheap, right? Because you want to keep your costs down. These people are not the people that are going to deliver the results for you, and you struggle. You say, okay, I'll train them. I'll and then you end up doing it yourself. You end up paying them to be trained, and you end up still doing the work yourself, right? So that's yeah. Go ahead.
There's a bit of PTSD that that shows because if you repeatedly get disappointed with your,
Mm, mm,
I want to say through no fault of your own, even though you hired incorrectly, just because no one ever
yeah.
taught you. Once you learn
Yeah.
it once,
Yeah.
the you hire well for the rest of your life. So
Yes.
when you don't learn how,
Yeah.
you then start to believe that you're not a good people manager.
Mm,
You
mm,
start to not have trust in team, and you
mm.
take everything back and you're like, it's not worth it. It's not worth the cost. It's not worth the time. And
Yeah.
what that does is it keeps you stuck in this
Yes.
functioning role. I did a whole podcast episode on why women overfunction in their business.
Yeah.
And then it keeps you stuck at that level for years to come.
Mm,
So if somebody is
mm.
listening to this and saying, I've been at the same income level for 3, 5 years, this is why.
That's why. Because I had when I did hire right, when I did one particular hire and having that person took off everything from me. I was able to hand over everything to her. I hardly ever needed to brief her on anything. She just knew it. She knew what to do. She knew her job and she knew what to do. She just needed the information she needed. She didn't need me to coach her, teach her how to do it. And she just went ahead and did it. So for me, it was like, I'll pay you what you want as long as you stay. You know what I mean? So it's you go from trying to hire someone cheaply to I'm just going to pay what I need to pay for a good person to get the job done, save me so much time, effort, heartache, stress. It makes such a difference. It's just night and day. The two experiences are night and day. And as you say, once you experience that, you're not going to make the same mistake again.
Was just talking to I was doing a strategy session with a client, a member of Bullpart yesterday. And we were mapping out her entire strategy for the next 12 months of how she can double her business. And I said, let's talk about this hire. She said, oh, I'm going to hire an manager. And I looked at everything and I said, may I push back lovingly? You don't need an assistant manager. You need a general manager or a store manager. And she said, oh, but it's more expensive. I said, what's the difference? She said about 10,000 a year. And I gently pointed out to her that investing 10,000 a year more, which is
Yeah.
divided over 12 months, she
Yes.
would somebody who can run business for her and with her
Yeah.
instead of being the point person for all the team members. And she really got it. She was like, okay, it's not, but we often default to, you know what, let me just do this cheap. And I'm just here to tell you, hiring for where you want to go as opposed to where you are now is self love in action.
Love that. Yeah.
It
We
is
need to
you,
love ourselves more.
yeah, love yourself and feel worthy of having highest best support available, because when
Mm,
you do, then you can focus on those money generating activities instead of
mhm.
reactive firefighting. Then you can work on exponential growth activities that will double your business in 1 year. And this is
Right.
why this process works so well, because we gently push back on the assumptions that society has for us of like cheap, do it yourself. You don't actually have to spend a lot of money on
Mm,
team. I have a team of part-time, affordable people, but
mm,
because I use the right assessments and the right hiring process,
mhm.
good work back. And that allows me to have to scale the business without being in it all the time and do
Yes.
it affordably.
Yeah, and I think another aspect I think that strikes me when I look back at my experience, right, running a business as well, was this took me years to master, is the art of saying no. I was a real yes person. Yes, I'll do it. And part of it was time management. Part of it was not really understanding how much I actually had on my plate. And by saying yes to something else, not understanding or realizing that that had to be slotted in somewhere, right? And that means something else has to go, or I'm just overstretching my time and there aren't physical hours in the day. But without planning my time, I didn't know that I didn't have those hours. And then I think also things take longer to do than you usually expect them to. Having a buffer in your day as well to do that. So me learning to say no was a huge game changer for me.
This is a big part of why women should seek out successful women coaches.
No,
Here's
no, no.
men say no all the time because
Okay.
they're raised to say no. We are raised that we are not nice when we say no. So we're raised to put people first. We're raised to people please.
Yeah.
And we are raised to believe that saying no makes us selfish or not nice. The way that I teach how to set boundaries and take back your time from the people who are hijacking your time is to do it in a loving way. I call it loving but not lenient.
Right.
So, would you like me to share the process
Yes. Yes.
okay. So, I call it the big fig sandwich.
Okay.
The big fig sandwich means begin in gratitude. Okay. So, if somebody asks you to do something that serves them but not you, you can say, thank you so much for thinking of me. I am very touched, or whatever you want to say. And you're beginning in gratitude. Then the
Mm,
middle part of the sandwich is
mm,
to say, I'm not available for that.
mm, mm,
This doesn't fit in with my priorities right now,
mm,
or can't do it,
mm.
whatever you want to say, without over explaining.
Yeah.
Women tend to over explain. And when you over explain something, somebody can come in and try to like convince you otherwise. So you don't over explain. And then the fig is you finish in gratitude. And you
Nice.
just say again, like, I just know you're going to find the right person. And thank you again for thinking of me. And
Yeah.
when you set boundaries and you take
Mm,
back your time, you will
mm,
see that I have an exercise that I do with our members where
mhm,
some they gain back thousands of hours per year.
mm.
Thousands of hours just by saying no, by removing themselves from things personally and professionally. Those are the thousands of hours that they get back, several hours per day that they can then work on exponential growth and money
Nice.
generating activities.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, when people say to me I haven't got time, I'll say, "Give me your calendar, let's sit down. I'm gonna find you 10 hours a week to do this."
And it's usually because people are walking all over us.
Yeah, yeah,
Our
yeah.
society sets it up so that you ask a woman and she'll do it, where a guy
Mm.
would be like, no,
And no is a full sentence,
exactly.
and you don't have to explain why. It's just, yeah, you just have to know what your priorities are. And I think also not focusing on too many things at one time as well is another thing that we tend to, this
We
shiny
focus,
penny
yep,
syndrome.
we focus on 3 activities a day. That's it, 3 things a
Mm,
day.
mm,
Because if you put 17 things on your plate and you only get 3 done, you'll feel bad. But if you put 3 priorities and you get all 3 priorities done, you're
mm.
gonna feel like you own the world.
You've achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing is just understanding what you can do and just owning that and just the focus. The focus is the thing for me as well because it's so easy, especially I think today where we've become accustomed to all of these reels and things on social media. Our attention is just we're used to that kind of thing, and then it's the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and this ability to focus. I was doing one training course where this guy has built an app, and inside the app, he's built a kind of like the Pomodoro clock thing, and you can set it at different times. And I've been doing that actually this week, and it has just shot up my productivity because I'm saying, okay, I'm putting this clock in, I'm only doing this for this time. And then when the clock stops, I stop, right? And that's done, right, for the day in terms of that. But then it's super, super hyper focused. And I just get the stuff done that I need to do. It's usually things I don't want to do, right? I just like you put things off because then but once you create that time for yourself to actually do it, you get it done. Book yourself into your calendar. Ah, I love it, love it, love it. So, so we've talked about some of the ways that people show up in terms of when they turn up and they've got all the problems that you help solve. So paint me the picture then of once they've gone through your whole system, what is their life like at the end of that?
So typically, they have their days back. So they're working 6 hours a day as opposed
Mm,
to 10 or 12.
mm, mm.
They don't work on evenings. When they shut the laptop down, it doesn't get open until the next day.
Right.
They don't ever work on weekends.
Mhm.
They're focusing on what I call their unique brilliance activities. One of the things that we do, I have a worksheet called the Unique Brilliance Worksheet, is you figure out what are the activities that you're uniquely, mm, how do I say this, uniquely brilliant at.
Yeah.
These are the activities
Naturally disposed to do, right.
naturally, right? So they are your top strengths. They are the things that you would do for free all day
Mm,
long. You
mm,
increasingly get better at the more you do it.
mm.
And that people look at you and say, "Oh my God, how do you do that? You're so good at it."
Yeah.
Versus the things that you're competent at.
Mm, mm.
Figure out what your unique brilliance activities
Right.
are, and you delegate the competence and incompetence.
Mm,
People spend 80% of their time in the competence and incompetence. So when you delegate, eliminate, automate those things, you spend more of your time in your unique brilliance
mhm.
activities, and we use assessments to help you figure out what those are. That is
Right,
actually where you make 80% of your money. So
right.
your day is actually enjoyable because you're doing none of the things that you don't like that
Mm,
frankly somebody else could do better than you.
mm. And energy sucking as well.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And because
Mm,
you have naturally you're strong at your unique brilliance activities.
mm,
Yeah, go. I love what I'm doing as opposed to dreading all the things on the to-do list that I call heart sync activities. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know I need to do this, but I'm just doing it because I have to.
Yeah.
And and so more vacations, right? Because we talk about 14 weeks of vacation
Mm,
a year.
mm.
Majority of my members taking the last week of every month off from clients. They
Nice.
either
Okay.
work on exponential growth activities or they go on vacation with their families.
Nice. Love
So
it. Love that. That
we've gotta put
concept.
the leverage activity the leverage activators in place before, any
Yes.
of that is possible.
Yeah, you can actually do it. Yeah. Okay. I love it. I absolutely love it. This has been such a wonderful conversation for me because it's just something I recognize the importance of, and more people need to learn this. Congratulations for getting the system together and the book out. I'm sure you've already helped so many people, and you're just going to go ahead and that you've got a legacy now. Basically, you're going to help so much more. Fabienne, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to put the link to your book and your podcast wherever you're listening or you're watching this episode. The link will be there. So go and check out Fabienne's book and her podcast. There'll be so much more you can pick up from there than the short time that we've had to talk today. So Fabienne, thank you so much for your time today. It's been lovely talking to you.
It's such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to the show today. And if you've liked what you've heard, then do subscribe to the channel wherever you see it, wherever you're watching it. And if you're on YouTube, ring the bell so that you can get notified when we upload another episode so you don't miss the episodes as they come up.